Tesano in Accra. My name is Kweku Ediama, answer coming up in this bulletin. Upper East Regional Security Council to commence investigations into all alleged killings of persons in Bawku by the military. Meanwhile, the military has dismissed the said allegations.
RESEC, we are also going to do our own investigation to find out exactly what happened. I think that for us here, we've been working with the military for a very long time.
Workers of Northern Electricity Distribution Company personnel of the institution after the school was disconnected from the national grid.
So I gave instruction to my people that they should disconnect. Upon the disconnection, the security man and the staff gave instructions that the car should not move out, so they should lock inside.
Also coming up, National Executive Committee meeting of the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, to decide on a date for its presidential and parliamentary primaries ends inconclusively.
It has been resolved that as a party we need to do further consultation on the timelines for the presidential and parliamentary elections.
And later, Concerned Second-Hand Dealers Association threatens to resort to legal redress or demonstration if attempts to get the Energy Commission to suspend the ban on the importation of second-hand appliances fails.
We, as dealers, about 200,000 people are going to be affected. About 99% of this population are going to be affected.
I'm grateful that you could choose us. Let's begin with our very first story. And the Upper East Regional Security Council, RESEC, says it will soon commence investigations into all alleged killings of persons in Bawku by the military. On Wednesday, February 1, 2023, they accused the military of allegedly shooting and killing 7 persons while on a peacekeeping mission in the area. The Upper East Regional Security Council, RESEC, however, says the incident will be investigated to unravel the facts.
The ethnic conflict between Kusasis and Mamprosis in Bawku caused government to deploy the Ghana Armed Forces 11th Mechanized Infantry Battalion to the Upper East region to keep peace in Bawku and protect the borders against violent extremists. But in recent times, residents of Bawku have accused the military of brutality and alleged killings of civilians. In December 2022, the military was accused by residents of allegedly killing a woman at Sabongari. On January 26, 2023, residents of Bawku accused the military of allegedly killing 2 persons, namely Siedu Dauda, aged 60, and Salifu Imoro, 59, at Patelemi for breaking the curfew. On Wednesday, February 1, 2023, the military were again accused of allegedly killing 7 persons in line of duty. The situation has exacerbated tension in Bawku as residents demand justice for the deceased. Member of Parliament for Bawku Central, Mahama Ayariga, in a statement, described the actions of the military as unprofessional and vowed to seek justice for the deceased. In a crunch meeting on Thursday held by the Upper East Regional Security Council, RESEC, to assess the situation in Bawku, Chairman of RESEC, who doubles as Regional Minister, Stephen Yakubu, said RESEC will commission investigations into all alleged killings by the military.
RECSEC, we are also going to do our own investigation to find out exactly what happened. I think that for us here, we've been working with the military for a very long time. In fact, this incident just happened, but we've been working with the military, and the military working in Bawku, even within my time here, is almost about maybe about 18 months or something like that. And it's very unfortunate that this has happened. What I can say now is that we are looking into it.
RECSEC also mourned with relatives of the deceased and called on all stakeholders to work at bringing lasting peace to Bawku.
As a regional minister, I am in mourning with them, I sympathize with them, big condolences. But the end matter is that we need peace. And all that. We should also be thinking of how do we make the peace so that we don't have more people going through this.
For Citi News, Frederick Awuni.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Armed Forces has refuted allegations that soldiers deployed to Bawku to restore calm and maintain order have killed 7 locals. The allegations were first made by the Member of Parliament for Bawku Central, Mahama Yariga, who indicated that the military shot indiscriminately into some locals running for cover, killing 7 of them in the process. But the military, in a statement, dismissed the said allegations and chronicled several incidents of violent attacks in the area. The military described the claims as false and unfounded. The military, however, stated that they engaged a group of armed men and neutralized 6 of them. The management of the West Hills Mall in Accra has clarified the sequence of events that led to the death of a 32-year-old man on his premises, with the police launching an investigation. Now, the mall management has released a statement explaining the attempts of the officer to apprehend Mr. Alo. Accounts from eyewitnesses and mall security indicated that the officers suspected Mr. Alo was in possession of illegal substances and asked to search his bag. The mall said its cameras captured an initial struggle as the officer attempted to handcuff the suspect. The suspect eventually stopped struggling, appearing to be unwell. He was transported to the on-site medical facility where he was pronounced dead on arrival. In more stories, this hour, the loss control team of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company was on Thursday detained on the UDS Citi campus in Tamale by staff and security
According to NEDCo, the institution owes a total of 400 media. The supervisor, head of security at the UDS Citi campus, ordered for the main entrance of the university to be released. Here is the supervisor of the loss control team speaking to the media.
In fact, we were sent to come and disconnect the institution. They are owing as much as 447,000. The UDS Citi. So I gave instruction to my people that they should disconnect. Upon the disconnection, the security man and the staff gave instructions that the car should not move out, so they should lock us inside. Even they should not allow us to go out until we reconnect them. So that's why we are here. That's why we are still here. There's the car. They say they don't allow the car to move. That's the gate. They say they don't allow them to move. So as you can see, they are still locking the gate. Actually, we do monitoring with the military. So it's not like the military were there and we are going to. There's an agreement that anytime we are doing monitoring, the military should work with us. So it's an exercise that we are doing. Okay. So when the issue. See, this is simple disconnection. And look at the risk involved. And this is a government institution. Can you imagine what would happen if it is individual homes? It's going to be worse.
Meanwhile, the management of UDS has been reacting to the matter.
We were not aware, especially regarding today, not that we were not aware of the entire exercise, but today, the security on duty in particular were unaware of the fact that VRA officials were coming to perform any official exercise on the premises. And so when they arrived there, the security insisted that they wanted to see some official communication between UDS and VRA NEDCo, permitting them to come and perform whatever exercise they had come there to perform. In the absence of such an evidence, they then said, wait until we confirm with our management that this exact exercise has been endorsed.
In a related development, the staff groups of Northern Electricity Distribution Company are demanding the removal of the managing director, Osmani Aludiba Ayuba, over non-performance. In a petition presented to the board of directors of the company, the staff group stated, among other things, worse financial performance of NEDCo, lack of clear strategy for the company, exorbitant sole source procurement of point-of-sale devices, and worsening distribution losses. Since Mr. Ayuba took office as the managing director some 3 years ago. As part of steps to press home their demand, the staff from the beginning of February have hoisted red banners across all the operational areas and service centers in NEDCo. According to the petition, the distribution loss alone within the Tamale metropolis is estimated at 12 million cedis of revenue each year. They also allege that the leadership of the company has spent over 40 million USD since the last 3 years on needless projects. The board has scheduled Friday 3rd to meet with the leadership of the agitating staff. According to the staff, the outcome of the meeting will determine the way forward. From Tamale, I am Dinah Ungwan for Citi News.
Let's head to the Ashanti region now because the Asokore Mampon District Court has granted bail to 43 students of the Krobea Asante Technical and Vocational School in connection with the student. 9 students were earlier remanded and some of them were also arraigned. Our Middle Belt Bureau Chief Edward Opoma for has more.
Students of Krobea Asante Technical and Vocational School on January 22, 2023 went on rampage and destroyed public and private properties. The motive of the action by the students is not known, but authorities in the school suspect it could be the students who were expressing their displeasure over the poor performance of their predecessors in the final exams. 39 students were earlier arraigned and 4 others were later arrested and put before court. The affected students have been charged with conspiracy to commit crime, with unlawful entry, causing unlawful damage, and stealing. Appearing before the Asokore Mampon District Court on Thursday, February 2, the court granted accused persons bail. They have been admitted to bail in a sum of 2,000 Ghana cedis each, with one surety who has to be a parent or a guardian. They are also expected to report to the police once a week. Lawyer for all the accused persons, Daniel Kwame Boateng, spoke to journalists after the court proceedings.
As lawyers, the fact that we defend does not mean we condone and connive with crime. We are only doing our work in the interest of justice and fairness. So if at the end of the day, the prosecution is able to prove their case beyond reasonable doubt, then all of us will be happy because in the end, justice must be seen to have been done, because at least we are saying that if the crime was even perpetrated, it cannot happen that all these juveniles and the young persons were part. So if at the end of the case and the totality of evidence that will be placed before the court, some of them are culpable, the laws of this country will deal with them. So I'm pleased and happy the way the police are doing their work. It can happen that all of them are involved, because when such cases happen, the police normally conduct a soup, and the soup means the confined area where the crime was perpetrated. So therefore, after their investigation, some of them will be discharged from the offense that have been slapped on their faces. So in the end, when investigation is complete, you find that most of the juveniles and the young persons may be discharged from the case.
The head of legal and prosecutions at Ashanti Regional Police Command, ACP Kofi Blagoji, on his part, stated that the police are pursuing other suspects as well.
We are only maintaining the old charges, but we only submit the charge sheet because we've got some people arrested. And that is the position of the law. You have to submit the charge sheet and include them. And this is exactly what we do.
Are you still going after some suspects?
Yes, we had information that there are some people involved, so we shall try to see whether we can climb on them and then add them to the charge sheet.
Can you put two numbers?
No, exactly. Now we can't speak of the number now.
But can you confirm to us that the school prefect has also been arrested?
Yeah, the school prefect is part of those who presented today before the court.
The school is yet to be reopened after it was shut down following the disturbances. Officials from the Ghana Education Service say they will provide counseling services to the students when the school resumes. While the police are pursuing the matter in court, a 5-member committee has been set up to investigate the disturbances at the school.
The matter has been adjourned to 2nd of March 2023, and the police say they are still upon Marfo, Ascari-Mampong District Court, Ashanti Region.
Now, the Private Health Facilities Association in Ghana has charged the government to expedite action on the payment of outstanding National Health Insurance Scheme NHIS claims. The comment is on the back of an announcement by the National Health Insurance Authority (NHIA) of a 50% upward adjustment in tariffs for medicines and services covered by the NHIS. Even though the group applauds the increment, they lament it will be of no use if the government continually delays in the payment of their claims. The following report has more.
Prices of medicine under the National Health Insurance Scheme have been increased by 50%. This is according to the National Health Insurance Authority. This increment forms part of efforts to ease the burden on health facilities registered under the scheme. This comes on the back of appeals by the Private Health Facilities Association of Ghana. They had wanted the government to increase the amount it pays for drugs and non-drugs provided under the scheme. The group premised its appeal on the current economic climate. While applauding the government for the increment, the Vice President of the association, Samuel Boachi-Donko, in a Citi News interview urged the government to be swift in the payment of their claims.
We are in February. We have not been reimbursed April, May last year. So look at all this. So you have a penalty to pay on SNET from that time up to now. Right? You have to arrest all this while. You have taken the drug suppliers, drugs, non-drugs. From that time, you are now paying. You are now paying the person. So how? How do this happen? How do you run a health system like this? So we are happy that we applaud government for what they have done, NHIS have done, that they have increased our services and some tariff, drug tariff and co. We are happy. It's good. But then if you don't pay the claims, you have done nothing to us. It will even keep long.
The group had earlier threatened to partially withdraw its services to the National Health Insurance Scheme clients. Their reason was the delay in payments of their claims. However, for a manager of a private hospital who spoke on condition of anonymity, the increment should have corresponded with a hike in prices of general goods and services. He also reiterated the need for government to immediately pay their claims as the delay is hindering the quality of healthcare delivery.
Government, no matter how increment it brings, he will find a way to take the money back. Just look at increasing electricity, I think 30% or so, then water, I think 8-point-something%. And now he's increasing, I think, some of them, the drug 50% and 7%. Provide better services to the public. When there's delay in payment, you're unable to pay the suppliers. They're also unable to pay. You see the ripple effect, and it goes on. So the most important is government to pay. If you fight for 100%, government will bring another thing to take the money back. So with that one, government is so smart to take the money back.
Let's bring you more stories now. And the Concerned Second-Hand Dealers Association says it may resort to suspend the ban on the importation of second-hand appliances fails. Now, the Commission a week ago released a statement indicating the implementation of the regulation will be strictly enforced going forward. However, the statement was vehemently resisted by stakeholders in the import sector who say many people may lose their jobs in the process. There's more in the following report.
As early as 4 a.m., traders of second-hand clothes gather to make purchases of the used goods referred by many as fos or obroniwewu. These clothes that come in different styles, designs and sizes are imported from across Europe into Ghana for onward sale.
This is Kantamanto, and it is one of the largest market centers you can find at the central business district of Accra. Now, even before the sun is up, you can see brisk business going on. And this is because traders who deal in the second-hand clothing have come here to purchase their goods, which would be sorted out later on into several grades. So, you know, when you go into the market, there are times you have to purchase some items or some clothes at higher prices as compared to others. Well, this is because when the sorting is done, it actually determines the price of the goods that will be sold on the market.
These goods are patronized mostly by the middle and lower income citizens who believe they are affordable.
Ninya pricing epe eno no cheche mo so no bia ni ebi ultramen t-shirt ebi ultramen shirt me say me ultramen tropical targa office wear de omo share de trouser no entine so no bia ni niamane ni buo no se na ni buo no sitie
na meti asese eba say mu yiji maybe a way quality
way selection it was first selection, it was second selection, it was third answer na was here. Maybe they want to
However, it is not only clothes that are imported into Ghana. Furniture and electrical appliances like microwaves, fridges, washing machines, and others are also brought into Ghana. The public, the desire for second-hand goods is financially motivated. For many, whereas brand new goods are sold at higher prices, second-hand goods are cheaper and serves its purpose. On the other hand, authorities in the eco space are worried that the continuous importation of used goods may have a negative impact on health, the environment, and the general well-being of citizens. The Energy Commission believes most of these appliances do not meet the minimum energy performance standards.
Most of the appliances too are meant for maintenance, which they cannot do. So they bring it here and try to salvage some components from it. The question is, what happens to the debris? After you have removed components from it, what happens to the other ones? So you would mostly see them on the workshops. When you drive across town, you see people park their fridges there because they cannot repair them. If not for the recent action at Agbogloshi, this is where all these items found themselves. And at the end of the day, it's going into our water bodies. So there is a chain of implication. It is one, safety, fire outbreaks. 2, high energy consumption. 3, this high energy consumption having an effect on the payment of bills of these people, and they are not able to save monies in their pockets. Number 4, environmental impacts.
This has led to the ban of used appliances, which is being enforced by the Energy Commission.
It has been passed. So let's look at creating awareness. What does the law say you should do? What is the requirement? What is your challenge about the requirement? And I think once we do this, people will appreciate it better. And number 2, enforcement. When it comes to enforcement, these appliances are being imported through the ports. And thank God we have now the integrated custom management system, which makes sure that most of these items go through the paperless system. So it is 2 things. Before you bring the product, you need to describe the HS code of the product, which means that you have to pay the corresponding duty. Okay. And once you do that, the system automatically picks the regulator, which is Energy Commission with Ghana Standards Authority. So it is only if you want to beat the system that you will not describe it, which means you are smuggling.
On the contrary, dealers in the used product business are of the view that many jobs may be lost, with customers of goods affected negatively if the directive is carried out.
The minimum price of new laptop is 7,000 from I3. So if your child is going to school and you have to buy laptop for that particular person, how are you going to afford that? But that same laptop you can get slightly used around maybe 2,000, 2,500 with the same spec, maybe the same year. So if government does not listen to us and go ahead to implement this law, we as dealers, about 200,000 people are going to be affected. About 99% of this population are going to be affected. That's why we are pleading to the government for us to sit down. Other than that, this nation will go into a deeper crisis.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom here on Citi TV. Still to come. National Executive Committee meeting of the New Patriotic Party to decide on a date for its presidential and parliamentary primaries ends inconclusively. We have details of this and other stories coming up shortly. Kindly stay with me.
Plus is a fully skimmed evaporated milk. Creamy Plus is available in a shop near you.
This message has been vetted and approved by the FDA. It is important for husbands to support their wives who test positive for HIV when they are pregnant. The assistance I got from my husband encouraged me to follow all the guidelines given by the nurses and doctors. I gave birth to an HIV negative child. I'm therefore appealing to all men to test for HIV and encourage their wives to do same. All pregnant women should test for HIV and follow instructions given by their healthcare providers. This will help them to have HIV-free babies. Men and women, let's work together to have an HIV-free generation.
Our children must be free to shine.
Every child is so unique. You like no other. Outstanding in every way. It's me like no other. So anytime you walk and play, you like no other. You are special like Indomie. It's me like no other.
Did you know that every child on the planet has their own unique fingerprint like no other?
You like no other. I can play the drums. I'm talented. It's me like no other. I can sing. I can dance. You like no other.
As well as their own unique talents and abilities.
I can cook. I can paint. You like no other. Indomie. It's you like no other.
So every day, in whatever you do, remember you are special in your own way, like no other.
Thank you, Mom, for letting me know I'm special and for making me my special Indomie. Thank you, Mommy.
Introducing Indomie Beef Flavor. Buy now.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to the program. Let's do some politics now. The National Council of the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, has endorsed the decision of NEDCo to engage in broader stakeholder consultation before announcing a date for its presidential and parliamentary primaries. The planned National Executive Committee meeting to set a date and draw up modalities for the two important internal elections on the party's calendar ended inconclusively. Now, two blocs within the party are pushing for early Congress, whilst the other is asking the party to abide by the provisions of its constitution, which says the party must elect a presidential candidate 12 months to a major election. But the party says another meeting will be called to deliberate on a date.
Now, after 4 hours of a meeting between the National Executive Committee of the NPP and the National Council, well, a decision was not taken. The party says it is going to defer the announcement of a date for its parliamentary and presidential primaries to another time. Now, the party explained that they need to do broader consultation with all the relevant stakeholders before a date could be announced or can be announced for its primaries for the parliamentary and presidential. There has been speculation already. Some aspirants are unhappy with regards to how the party has kept long in the announcement of a date for its two major internal elections left on the party's calendar. That is the presidential primaries and the parliamentary primaries. Now, many have said that the long delay is creating room for suspicion among the various aspirants who are seeking to lead the NPP into the 2024 general election. Now, the expectation was that today's meeting was going to be a final one and a date will be announced for these two major elections within the party, and also come up with modalities as far as the election is concerned, such as the opening of nomination, the closing, and the likes. But unfortunately, after 4 hours of meeting, that does not happen. The General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Kodia, has been offering some explanations.
I'm sorry to disappoint you this evening that from steering committee through to National Executive Committee and National Council, it has been resolved that as a party we need to do further consultation on the timelines for the presidential and parliamentary elections, and within the possible shortest time, we will come out with the timelines for our presidential and parliamentary elections. As a party, we believe in consensus building. And as a party, we recognize the views of each stakeholder in our deliberations. So we want to come out with a date that is built on consensus, and also compromises also made among key stakeholders. And once that is done, I will tell you when the timelines will come.
From the Alisa Hotel here in Accra, my name is Sami Wiafe.
In more stories, the National Peace Council, in partnership with the National Media Commission, has launched guidelines on hate speech and other forms of indecent expressions. The guidelines seeks to conscientize the public, particularly the media practitioners, on the need to promote tolerance while eschewing all forms of hate speech. Now, speaking at the launch, the chairman of the Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi, cited the 1994 Rwanda genocide, amongst others, as a product of hate speech, while emphasizing the need for the media space to be sanitized. There's more in the following report by Citi News' Daniel Sakite and read to you by Charles Owusukumi.
Various stakeholders at the event lamented the recent increase in hate speech and indecent expressions in the media landscape, adding that it has become a threat to the Ghanaian society. They noted that such behaviors become rife at the height of election years as political actors make pronouncements that threaten the peace and stability of the country. It is on this basis that the National Peace Council, per its mandate to promote sustainable peace in the country, developed the guidelines on hate speech and other forms of indecent expression. Chairman of the Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi, in an interview with Citi News on the sidelines of the event, said the Peace Council will work in collaboration with the National Media Commission to enforce the guidelines on hate speech.
For us as National Peace Council, we don't have the power of sanction. But I think the Media Commission has its own guidelines for media stations and all of radio stations and TV stations and all that. So we are relying on them to support us to make sure that these things can be done. And I think that with these guidelines out, it will strengthen their hands, to be able to now say that, look, we have these guidelines, let's be mindful of what we do, and be careful you don't go beyond bounds and all of those things. And I think also for some of our editors, there's a need for them now to sit back and ask themselves, as we bring people to our station or to our platforms, we should remind them that we can have a good debate, but let's not go beyond those levels where we're inciting public, we're insulting people, we are demeaning people. Those things are not helpful for the space within which we are.
He also called for a policy to regulate the online media space, adding, however, that it must be in conformity with the Constitution.
In a way, there has to be, but the question is, the Constitution gives us the freedom of expression. So the question is, how do you frame up something within the context of this? And this is what should be a continuous discourse between all the parties within the framework within which we are. How do we ensure that even though we have freedom to do these things, the freedom is managed in a way not to create chaos for the country?
Deputy Executive Secretary of the National Media Commission, Alexander Bannerman, speaking at the event, expressed his optimism that the guidelines will guide journalists in upcoming party primaries as political actors embark on their campaigns. He added that the Commission was working to address hate speech being promoted in the media space in certain parts of the country.
The document, as it is now, will serve as a source document for the National Media Commission going forward. On the media terrain, the Commission is faced with a lot of, for want of word, let me use a lot of problems related to hate speech. If you go to Bawku, it's there. The National Peace Council, we were there. The National Media Commission, we've been there. If you go to Adidome, we have it. If you go to Adan, if you go to Nzima, that is Axim. I don't want to mention the specific radio stations. The Media Commission is in the process of resolving all these issues, and we are on the ground over there.
Meanwhile, Deputy Minister of Interior and MP for Gomoa Central, Nana Eya, has urged the Peace Council to ensure effective implementation of the guidelines.
I would like to commend the National Peace Council for embarking on taking such a unique initiative to cut down the rate of hate speech in the country. The NPC should, however, find innovative ways to ensure guidelines are observed by the media and corporates.
Now, the Deputy Energy Minister, Andrew Ejapamesa, has confirmed that the initial consignment of 40,000 metric tons of oil brought into the country under the gold for oil policy was purchased with cash instead of gold. His disclosure comes after several calls by industry experts such as the Institute of Energy Securities and COPEC for the government to disclose the quantity of gold in exchange for the 40,000 metric tons of fuel, as they raised concerns over the viability of the deal. There's more in the following report.
On January 15, 2023, government, under its gold for oil policy, received 40,000 metric tons of oil from the United Arab Emirates. This was the first consignment received under the deal. The policy, which was announced in November 2022, was meant to tackle the dwindling foreign currency reserves coupled with demand for dollars by oil importers, which was weakening the local currency and increasing living costs. It was also meant to present the country with cheaper fuel. But weeks after the receipt of the consignment, prices of fuel at the pumps have seen a hike. The situation has raised concerns among the public. In an interview with Citi News, Deputy Minister for Energy, Andrew Ejapamesa, explained that Ghanaians would begin to see the impact on prices of petroleum products at the pumps if the policy gains momentum. He also revealed that the first consignment was purchased with cash. This revelation comes despite several calls for government to provide contract details of the fuel consignments brought under the gold for oil policy.
The policy actually started with an intent to do strict barter for gold and petroleum product, okay? But it became apparent that that then would mean that any of the international oil trading company that did not have a commodity wing that could deal in gold on their behalf were going to be excluded from the policy. Okay, but bear in mind that there are several international trading companies that are focused on gold, petroleum, and other commodities. There are some that are solely focused on petroleum products. And so to create a window to enable those oil companies or international trading companies that did not have other commodity wings to also participate in the program, we developed a policy such that we were operating two streams. One, direct barter, and two, monetizing the gold just so we can pay for IoTs that were not, other commodity focused, but solely petroleum products, and so would not have a need for gold. So that's how the program has been designed. Yes, two streams. Yes, one, direct swap gold for oil, because there are commodity traders that could trade the gold on their own. Okay, there are some that obviously, because they are not multi-commodity traders but focused only on petroleum, could also participate, with the Bank of Ghana then monetizes the gold that is aggregated here in Ghana, purchased in cities, to pay for that commodity. So the test run that we did was actually paid through the second round because people wanted to see how it works, and I believe that going forward, as we sign agreement with companies that were interested in the direct swap, when their commodity comes, the gold that has been aggregated will be valued, and then a swap made for those that sell that were not interested in gold. If the gold that has been aggregated will be sold by the Bank of Ghana.
Reacting to the revelation, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, said this was shocking. Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amwa, has been speaking to Citi News.
Just as you, the media, are shocked at the turn of events, we are equally shocked. And then the suspicion, the long-held suspicion that indeed we're just getting into a certain arena without deeper consideration or any proper contractual basis is just being confirmed. And then what this then does is that you have a deregulated environment which we entered into somewhere July 2015 on the back of the fact that government said it didn't have money to pay for under recoveries or any losses that was incurred by BDCs and other players within the sector. Then, a few years down the line, the same government comes back to say that I am now taking your money to go into fuels trading. What that means is that government is now in competition with the private players whom we have agreed should, procure or secure fuel and sell to the Ghanaian market. It is not only shocking, but we would wonder the basis of taking money from the Bank of Ghana at this point without proper budgetary approvals by Parliament to go into such a very dangerous, arena of fuels trading.
This is still the City Newsroom here on Citi TV with me, Kweku Aduama, answer still to come. Internationally acclaimed money transfer company TapTapSend has donates an amount of $10,000 towards Citi FM and Citi TV's foundation Citi Opportunity Project on education to support education in Ghana. We have details coming up shortly. Kindly stay.
Is the neighborhood I'm having my twins.
The very reason why I took it for us. See, the price is very good and it's spacious to contain all of us.
Alphabet City. Now I'm a landlord. I don't pay rent. And my Airbnb business is booming.
To me, bank and I'm going to say Alphabet City. The pension pay 20%. The payment plan, I want to share my man. Just very smooth.
This is a healthy place to raise our families and creating peace. Come on, be my neighbor.
Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
Alphabet City is a classy and peaceful gated community in Sakumono. We have 24/7 top-notch security and high-quality access roads. We have 3 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, 3 bedrooms and 3 washrooms with boys' quarters. We have 3 bedrooms and 4 washrooms. We have 2 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, all with beautiful kitchens and kitchenettes. Call Alphabet City on 0240-111119 or 050-44-99999. Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
Every child is so unique. You like no other. Outstanding in every way.
It's me like no other.
So anytime you walk and play,
you like no other.
You are special like Indomie.
It's me like no other.
Did you know that every child on the planet has their own unique fingerprint like no other?
You like no other. I can play the drums. I'm talented. It's me like no other. I can sing. I can dance. You like no other.
As well as their own unique talents and abilities.
I can cook. I can paint. You like no other. Indomie. It's you like no other.
So every day, in whatever you do, remember you are special in your own way, like no other.
Thank you, Mom, for letting me know I'm special and for making me my special Indomie. Thank you, Mommy.
Introducing Indomie beef flavor. Buy now.
This effort is FDA approved.
Get 2 months of Showmax for the price of 1. It's giving double energy. It's giving celebration Ankasa. All that scandal. It's giving the perfect storm. Shishi. More epic thrills and detective vibes. You go feel, sa. It's giving what it's supposed to be giving and overdose. So subscribe now to get 2 months for only 16 Ghana cedis 99 pesos for a limited time. It's giving Showmax.
You're welcome back to the program. Now, the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources wants the government to intensify efforts at dealing with illegal mining activities, popularly known as galamsey. Now, the ministry bemoans that the act has contributed to the massive pollution of the Brim River, which is expected to be the main source of water for the Osino and Begro water treatment plant. Speaking at the Public Accounts Committee meeting, the Sector Minister, Cecilia Abnadapa, called for a concerted effort at addressing the situation. Well, my colleague NEDCo Okan sat through the proceedings and he's come with more.
During proceedings on Thursday, the management of the Derma water treatment system appeared before the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament to answer questions pertaining to infractions cited in the 2020 Auditor General's report, and the Public Accounts Committee accused the management of forging documents after they failed to provide the needed documents pertaining to goods and services that were offered, amounting to the tune of 16,000 Ghana cedis.
When the auditors came, they had the invoices, but the issue was the receipts, and they confused the invoice to be receipts. So when they came, we made it clear to them that
Auditors, are you satisfied that the documentation has now been provided?
Honorable Chair, we don't have any document with us. Are they genuine receipts?
Mr. Chairman,
are they genuine receipts?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, yes, they are genuine receipts.
How can you prove that they are genuine receipts?
Mr. Chairman, I can prove they are genuine receipts because if you look at the invoices that were used at the time of the audit and the receipts now they have, you cannot find any difference between the two.
Okay.
You see that they are genuine source.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I also wanted to
your method of judgment.
Yes.
Yeah. So what date do you have the receipt you provided yesterday? What date?
What are the dates?
The dates on that receipt you provided yesterday.
Mr. Chairman, please, we contacted our suppliers. So they backdate the receipts.
They backdate the receipt.
The Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Cecilia Abnadapa, also appeared before the committee, and she complained about the impact of illegal mining on the Osino and Begro water treatment.
One of the most polluted water bodies is the Brim. And this will be the source, raw source, for our raw water. So if at the end of the day we borrow money through the vision of His Excellency the President, and the water source is polluted, what will be the result?
Reporting from Parliament, my name is NEDCo Okan for Citi News.
Now, internationally acclaimed money transfer company TapTapSend has donated an amount of $10,000 towards Citi FM and Citi TV's foundation Citi Opportunity Project on education to support education in Ghana. Now, COPE is a corporate social responsibility initiative under the Citi Foundation in support of Ghanaians in need of support. It is an initiative that provides scholarships to brilliant and deprived students to further their education. According to the Africa Growth Director of the company, Darrell Kuku Mauto Abraham, the decision by the company forms part of their corporate social responsibility aimed at making society a better place for all. The company further pledged to support the COPE initiative in the future to ensure a lot more needy persons but brilliant students are given an opportunity to have their dreams and aspirations met.
No, I think it's absolutely important that businesses like ours and corporates like ours who serve Ghana and make money in Ghana should support the economy of Ghana and should support the social improvement and impact in Ghana. Mm-hmm. I'm personally very passionate about education. I'm very passionate about social mobility. I'm very passionate about financial inclusion. Mm-hmm. And all of these things are wrapped into education. Mm-hmm. So I was looking for a project which would be able to achieve all these things, and COPE is one of those ones that I think could definitely achieve it. So if we educate 10 people, educate 5 people, I think we educate a nation, and we could absolutely advance financial inclusion. We could advance social mobility. We could do a lot with that. So I decided to do COPE, and we decided to be partner with COPE because we believe it would have a huge impact on the lives of people. Because our senders who send the money, right, they appreciate the fact that we are investing in Ghana. They appreciate the fact that we are doing things to advance the Ghana economy. They appreciate the fact that we care deeply about Ghana, and we want to do something small to improve the Ghanaian economy. And
I see. So this will be your first contribution to education?
It will be.
And that's it for today's edition of the Citi Newsroom here on Citi TV. Do remember that our website, citinewsroom.com, has more information on our top stories and more. Subscribe to CityTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV. You can also watch Citi TV on DSTV channel 363 and on GoTV channel 182. My name is Kweku Ediama, and so many thanks for your company.
On Footprints this weekend, we have a conversation with Ama Busia, the sister of Ghana's former Prime Minister, Dr. Kofi Busia, as she walks us through her life and that of her brother.
He was teaching in the Institute of Social Studies in The Hague, and then Leiden University. We were barely settling down when Dr. Dankwa was arrested for the second time. And what he did was he came to the house one day, and when you hear him playing this song, he's got the whole world in his hands. He's got a little tiny baby. You know that the man is worried. When we went to the sitting room, he was standing by his radiogram and playing this song. So we asked him, he said, he apologized to Mrs. Busia that, nah, I should have discussed it with you. I have resigned from the institute. And then Mrs. Busia asked why, and he said he has heard Dankwa has been arrested for the second time. And he couldn't stay in Holland, I'm quoting him, in his comfort zone with his wife and children and sister, whilst his colleagues were languishing in prison. There were so many people that Nkrumah sent after my brother.
To do what? To bring him back?
Exactly.
So that you will jail him?
Yes. My brother was attending conference at Tanzania. And I think that Nkrumah had arranged with Nyerere.
Julius Nyerere, yeah.
That they should capture Busia and put him in a plane and bring him to Ghana. I don't know whether he had a hint or what. But the day before, he said he dreamt, and a voice was telling him that leave this country immediately. I went to see a friend in Tema. By the time I came back, the cadets have taken over the University of Ghana. Commonwealth was their headquarters. Kresi Sapon called them that they wanted volunteers to go to Amabuzia's bunker.
Yawa Kresi Sapon?
Yawa Kresi Sapon.
Really?
Yes.
He did that, or you heard?
No, he did that. His name is in the book. He can't challenge me.
Join your host Samuel Atamensa as he engages Ama Busia this Saturday on Footprints at 9 a.m. with a repeat on Sunday at 4 p.m.